This is great stuff this evening. We haven't had stations from the UK further afield for quite some time.
This is G4 FKK. Hopefully we shall shortly be joining the DATV QSO party. There's a bit of organisation happening on the back channel here. So hopefully any minute now we'll get an intro from Peter, VK3 BFG. And then we'll see John, G7JTT, who's streaming directly into Australia, closely followed by Dave, G8GKQ. Then Peter will hand over to us, and I'll pass it over to Gary, and then we'll run through the list. Let me just have a quick look at the list. Okay, so first on the list is Gary. Then Gary will pass it to Leon, ZS1 Mike. Then Benno, PA3FBX. Morning, Benno. Michael, our sole British expat in Spain, EA7KIR. Then Martin from Somerset, G8KOE. G4IMO, Nick. And then G8PQH. So, Frank, good morning to you, Frank. Let me just turn down the back channel because it's a bit noisy here. I'll tell you what, this isn't going to happen instantly. So what I'll do, I'll quickly pass it round to you, Gary. Make sure you're set up and ready to go. And when Peter pops up on the stream from Australia, we'll take that. ZS6 Yankee India for testing purposes. G4 Fox Kilo standing by.
Okay, Martin, no problem my side. Copied you very well. Also could hear Peter in the background, so we're all good to go. I am also streaming on YouTube, the normal Sunday YouTube channel for whoever wants to see. So we're going to just carry on the live stream starting now. On the list we have, as you said, the following: myself, then Leon, then Benno, then Michael, then Martin, KOE, and then Nick, IMO, Frank, G8PQH, and Roger, G3IUZ from Wells. So we've got a nice group so far. Excellent. Right, I'll pass it back to you, Martin. I hope you were able to copy this okay from ZA6YI.
Yeah, fine, Gary. ZS6 Yankee India. I think we've got a 2.5 minute countdown coming up. So I'll keep droning on until it all starts happening. There might be some interesting effects on audio because I have to make sure I mute one channel and set another one up. So. I'm just being asked something in Australia. Yes, okay, Peter. VK3 BFG G4FKK. Well, we're standing by, so as soon as I see you appear on the or the video start on the link, I will start putting it up on QO-100. Okay, what I'm going to do now, because we've been through the list, I think we all know where we are. I will cut to the feed, which at the moment is just a test card, but hopefully any minute now it should start having some audio on it. So bear with me, G4FKK.
Welcome to the second session of the 12th DATV QSAT party. This session will be anchored by Martin Charman, who is the chairman of the British TV Club. Golf 4 Foxtrot Kilo. And this will be via the geostationary satellite QO-100. Also featured tonight will be John McCarthy, Golf 7 Juliet Tango, Dave Crunk, G8 Golf Kilo Quebec, who will brief us on where the port's down is headed. My goodness me, it's a project that one. Also on the satellite will be Gary, Z6 India, Leon, Zulu Sierra 1, Mike, and Tom, as Zulu Romeo 6 Tango Golf. So let's via the satellite. So over to you there, Martin.
Right, okay, right, I'll just, right, okay, let's get this over to me for starters. Right, very good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it be, anywhere else that people are watching from. My name's John, and the call sign is G7JTT. It's a fairly cloudy morning here on the south coast of England, a place called North Baddesley, which is sort of just north of Southampton, so sort of right down on the south coast. Anyway, I've been licensed for, I'm going to mute this one, hang on. I've been licensed since 1991. I just had to look that up because I've forgotten how long it's been. So a relatively newcomer really to all this. I got into TV by accident really. A friend of mine who was joining a club locally had said about TV, and I thought, no, there's no way I'll be able to do it. It's way too complicated, etc. And anyway, we built the Solent, and we've been hooked ever since. It's certainly part of the hobby that I probably enjoy the most, to be honest. So that's pretty cool. What have I been up to? Unfortunately, I can't join you via QO-100. My station's in bits at the moment, as well, I've been trying to move since early part of the year, but things haven't quite gone to plan. And unfortunately, prospective buyers don't like seeing big dishes and aerials in the garden, so that's all packed away. So I'm coming in via streaming this morning, but I have been fairly busy. I've been playing around with this thing, which is hopefully going to help me receive ham TV when it goes up. So it's one of these MMDS things that's been converted to come out on 400 and something, I think it's, or 300 and something odd megahertz, yeah, it's hopefully going to work. I've yet to prove that it does, or it's got any kind of chance of getting there, but let me just show you some quick pictures. So there it is, mounted on the dish, and if I do this, the other thing I've been playing with, I bought an exceptionally large 70 Yagi, which has proved to be a bit too big, to be honest. So this is me, a friend of mine's QTH, where I could get the thing up without causing too much havoc. It's just under 10 meters long, and I think it was 39 elements or something. So yeah, it's a bit impractical, to be honest. So we've been playing with that. I did, whilst I was there, manage to get a beacon which was over an obstructed path, which is there. So I'm on the left hand side, the beacon's on the right hand side. It's about 120 kilometres or thereabouts. And this is just a quick short video. There we go. So there's the video. If I put some sound on, hopefully that sound comes through as well. And it just goes like there. So there's the beacon coming in, going, and I shall quickly go on to the next one. So what I've done now, I've chopped the thing down to 25 elements, and I'm going to try and use it for moon bounce. And it's ridiculously long, yeah. And last but not least, it wouldn't be me if I didn't do some VLF stuff. So that is the antenna in the garden at the moment, which is just a big loop of wire, about 2 meters in diameter. And which one was it? Was it that one? Let me just see if I've got the right one. Yeah. So there we go. There's some VLF for you, and that is the alpha signals at the moment coming in from up in Siberia. I think it is somewhere. Is one of those. But if I zoom out, you'll see there's all the submarine type stuff. And there is actually, if I just turn the things off, just about there is at certain points of the day. Unfortunately, I've got QRM there, but there is a VLF substation. I think it's run by the US, but it's out in Australia somewhere. I forget whereabouts now. And that's audible here as well on just around about 20 odd kilohertz. And that one there, if I can get to it, on 24 kilohertz. That's for the American viewers if they're still watching. That's Maine in the US. It's audible all day long here. It's incredible. So yeah, there we go. Right, with that, I shall pass it round to, I think it goes to Dave next, doesn't it? So let me just go to test card.
Okay, good morning / afternoon / evening all. First of all, thanks to Peter and Ian for putting this amazing production together. I'm Dave, GHEKQ. I started in ATV about 50 years ago, 4 or 5 lines AM TV. Soon moved on to 625, put myself a PAL coder while I was at uni, and have played ever since. I joined the BATC committee about 18 years ago, and have since done a stint as chairman and now treasurer. Since I retired from the Royal Air Force, I've been full-time on ATV, more or less. And about 8 years ago, Noel GTZ, who's been my ATV partner in crime for more years than I care to remember, encouraged me to start on what has become the Portsdown project. So this morning I'm just going to run through a quick update of where that is and where it's going. So hopefully we should now have some slides. I've got too many screens here. I've got 5 screens, and it's all rather confusing. So starting with project status, talking about some recent developments, and then on to new possibilities. Portsdown 2020 is really the development of the original ports down from where we started. Works with a Raspberry Pi 3 and either a 3.5-inch or 7-inch touchscreen. Continues to be supported with the functionality it's got. I haven't yet made it support Pico Tuner, but that will come eventually. And it will certainly live on being supported for a few years yet, mainly because my contest setup uses a Portsdown 2020, so I've got the motivation. How long will this thing last? Well, if you don't connect it to the internet and try and update it, it will last forever until your SD card dies, essentially. There will be problems with updating the software for security fixes at some time in the future, but we're not there yet. So Portsdown 2020 is still very much alive. Portsdown 4, this runs on a Raspberry Pi 4 with just the 7-inch touchscreen, and some specific 5-inch touchscreens do work, or it has a web interface. You can point a browser at the Portsdown's IP address and you can control it from a browser, which is very useful for some of the test equipment functions, which we'll come to later. It does support the new Pico Tuner, but only one stream, unlike the great Open Tuner software that supports two streams. The main reason is getting more than one stream onto a 7-inch screen with the current software architecture isn't really possible. The main developments recently have been in the test equipment suite that's with it. Many of you will have seen Band Viewer. There's the signal generator on there. There's a noise meter and a few other things, and some of those developments have been driven by the fact that I've done a series of articles for Radcom, the RSGB's monthly publication, describing the test equipment. And Portsdown 4 continues to be the latest fielded capability. All the latest developments come to that. Now, Portsdown 5, people, when the Raspberry Pi 5 came out, great clamour of people saying, are you going to build a Portsdown 5? Well, I kept my powder dry for almost a year, and it's now on its way. It will work with a Raspberry Pi 5, 7-inch touchscreen. It'll also, most of the features will still work with a Raspberry Pi 4 and a 7-inch touchscreen. It's backward compatible. For most of the features, those that don't make use of the increased processing power of the Raspberry Pi 5. It'll also work with an HDMI screen and a mouse. So rather than using a specialist touch screen, you can just plug in an HDMI screen and a mouse. You get the same menu, and you get full screen replay of received pictures. So that's the idea. And it'll also have the web interface. So a bit more flexibility there. At the moment, it's in a very experimental stage. It certainly doesn't transmit or receive reliably at the moment. I'm looking at a release probably middle of next year for something that people would want to actually use. But lots of promise there. Recent developments on the Portsdown 4 then. The test equipment, I've increased support for the Pluto, so the signal generator, band viewer, noise figure meter and the noise meter all now work with Pluto. It was all originally based on the Lime SDR. And it's better documented in Radcom and of course on the BATC wiki. Some of the other developments have been introduced to the file menu on Portsdown 4. I couldn't think. They started with a few file functions, but there's some other things there now. So you can actually explore the files on the disk of the Raspberry Pi. You can copy them, rename them, and so on. You can also select an IQ file, and this is a feature introduced to allow testing for ham TV on the ISS. You can download an IQ file, and you can play that out through a Lime SDR. So you can actually get an example file of what ham TV used to transmit 5 years ago when it was running with Tim Peake up there. On 23950 megs using a Lime SDR, and you can play that in the loop. You can also mount a USB drive to drag and copy files across. You can list the network devices. This is a bit like Thing on an iPhone or Advanced IP Scanner. So it'll tell you what devices are on your network, and you can filter those to list the network Raspberry Pis. So when you put a new Raspberry Pi on the network and you don't know what IP address it is, you can list it there. Also list the USB devices so you can see what's plugged in and what's working with your ports down. And the last thing is you can select RIDE receiver. So you can that button either says load or update RIDE receiver, and it loads the latest version of the RIDE receiver, and you can run that alongside ports down on the same hardware. Which comes on to the next thing. There's on menu 3, system menu, you can select what you boot to. So you can actually boot straight into Band Viewer if you want, or you can boot straight into the RIDE receiver. Now clearly you'd need to wire up a remote control for the RIDE receiver and so on, but there's a bit more flexibility there. Okay, time to push you on, so let's think about ports down 5. What have I done? Well, given that we've gone to a 7-inch screen, I've put in an extra row of buttons, and how that looks is like this. This is the HDMI output from a ports down 5 that I'm running at the moment. Hopefully that's come up on screen. Yes, it has. And you can see there's an extra row of buttons crammed in there. I haven't really decided what's on them, but there is some functionality there. For example, you can go to test equipment and go straight into Band Viewer, and you get that output on the HDMI. Back to the PowerPoint, which is that one. Last thing is you can do a possible video source without switch your video source without dropping transmission. I hope to be able to implement that, having changed the architecture, because the thing I'm trying to do in ports down 5 is sort out all the things that have limited us with ports down 4. I don't only play with ports down. I've got Lime Microsystems have loaned me one of their latest LimeNet micros. This is a Raspberry Pi 4 compute module along with their latest SDR and with PAs and preamps. They've loaned me one of these to try and get the ports down software working with it. We're getting there. There's still lots to do, but it's taking a lot of my time at the moment. But that development is based within the ports down 5. The other thing I'm doing, I was lucky enough to get a scrap HP spectrum analyzer recently, one of the old boat anchor ones, but I've decided that I've stripped the IF out of it, and I'm going to actually use a Lime SDR on the IF. So the project is to come up with a 25 gig spectrum analyzer with a Lime SDR and a 7-inch touchscreen on it. But that'll be a long one. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. Thanks for listening, and thanks again to Peter and Ian. So I think it probably goes round to I'm not sure what's happening here. There seemed to be a huge delay anyway. Thank you, Dave. There was quite a delay here between pictures and audio. For those watching on QO-100, and I've got... I'm not sure what's happening here. There seemed to be a huge delay anyway. Let's get the audio sorted out as well. Yes, I'm not quite sure what's occurring here. Right, there we go. Well, that was a good presentation, Dave. Thanks for that. It was a good reminder for all of us who already know about Portsdown. Good. So Peter is telling me from Australia that the audio is fine from here to there. So now I think we have got established a link. I'll just introduce myself. I'm Martin, G4FKK, currently chairman of the BATC, following in the huge footsteps of Dave, who you've just seen, who was the previous chairman. And the BATC represents British amateur television amateurs across the world. In fact, I think Peter's a member of, as VK3 BFG's member of BATC, and I think most of the people coming up on the list. Now, talking of the list has got reasonably large here. So what we'll try and do is we'll try and whiz it round in one go. We've got 10 stations, so if we could keep overs to about a minute and a half, we should fit in with Peter's 20-minute slot that he's given us. So on the list we've got Gary from South Africa, Leon from South Africa, Benno PA3FBX from Holland, EA7KIR from Spain, G8KOE from Somerset, G4IMO from the central UK, G8PQH Frank from Selsey Bill, G3IUZ from the city of Wells, and also Saro. So very good afternoon, evening, whatever it is over in India, VU2OBR. So without further ado, I shall push it round to Gary. ZS6 Yankee India, G4 Fox Kilo Kilo, standing by.
Okay, Martin, G4 Fox Kilo Kilo, ZA6YI returning. Very nice to have everybody on. Peter, thank you for organizing it in the Down Under in Australia. I have a whole bunch of Australian people visiting me at my salt mine at this moment of time. We just want to thank everybody for coming up. It's quite a historic event, linking up South Africa, darkest Africa, with the UK and of course with Australia, and I believe there are 2 American stations on as well. Just briefly, I started amateur radio in 1968 as a youngster. We had to wait a number of years before we were allowed to take the amateur radio exam, the RAE, which we did. And today I actually set the exam, or co-set it in South Africa, and then followed an engineering degree, and then lectured in the army for my 2-year military stint, and then went into private business. So I've been sort of involved with electronics on the sideline, but far more involved in plastics and chemistry, etc. We're going to keep the overs short. We're trying to get everybody in. So on the list, the next one will be Leon. Leon, he's down in the Cape, quite far from me, about 1,600 kilometers. So, and I'm near Johannesburg. So Leon, will you kindly take it? ZS1 Mexico, Mexico from ZS6 Yankee India.
Okay, Gary, ZS6YI and the whole group. This is ZS1 Mike from Worcester in South Africa. Yes, nice net we have today, and yes, good day to everybody on it. I've been a ham since 1976. I wrote the exam in 1975, in November 75, and got my call sign in 1976. And I've been active, not so much on HF in the beginning, yes, when we had to do CW, 200 CW contacts before you get your full license. But anyway, okay, the cherry on top, of course, is the QO-100 business. I played a little bit with analog TV and so on. I was in the broadcasting industry in my earlier days. Then I moved to the missile test range, And yes, I've actually been to Australia, Tennant Creek. We do launch supports for Boeing or ULA, lately more for the European Space Agency, but I can't remember whether it was one of the Mir rovers or something that we had to support from Tennant Creek. So we built 2 flyaway stations. Well, we call them flyaway stations. They're in cases with the tracking antenna, and yes, so they asked us to set up a station there and man it. I think it was about 2 weeks we were there. We first landed in Sydney, I think, and then we drove to Alice Springs, slept there for a day or two, and then we moved on to Tennant Creek, and there was a vacant building on the airfield at Tennant Creek. Red dust, I'll never forget the red dust and the heat of Tennant Creek. But it was all very exciting, and yeah, so everything went well there, and we did the launch support. We move all over the globe doing launch supports for various companies where they don't have fixed telemetry stations. So telemetry is my business. That's what we work on. Anyway, I think I've had my 1.5 minutes. So cheers from South Africa. And I should give it to Benno, PA3FBX, for the group from ZS1 Mike.
On at the moment, Echo Alpha 7 Kilo India Radio, ZS6YI.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, testing. Yeah, I think I'm working. Yeah, it's rapidly developing into chaos, isn't it? I didn't have any audio from Leon on the satellite until near the end, but it was there on the stream. So the setup is obviously quite complex, and these things happen. Or maybe it was just me, I don't know. Anyway, I'm Michael. I live in Malaga, in Spain, been there for nearly 25 years, from England, Yorkshire in particular, which isn't really part of England at all, actually. It's a city, country of its own. And I've been in amateur radio on and off, mainly off, since about, I think, in 1970 something. I can't remember exactly when. Late 70s, I think. But I didn't take it up again until a few years ago. And then I discovered this television stuff, and I haven't touched the HF stuff since, really. It's sad, isn't it, considering the amount of money I've spent on it. But the television side of it's far more exciting for me. And I write my own software because I like the challenge, and I like dabbling. And I don't use Macs or PCs to control the television thing. I do it all in separate boxes, standalone. So I don't have these problems of Windows updates or anything like that. It's completely external to the computer. I just use the computer for the chat and the running order and things like that. I was hoping, I'm still hoping to see and hear from a few more people other than Peter, although it's very nice to see him, despite the echo, in Australia. But no sign of them yet on the chat or on the running order, so I guess it's past their bedtime. What a shame. Anyhow, it's fun and a technical achievement to do what you've done, guys. Martin and Gary and John and Peter over in VK land. Excellent work. And perhaps a few more people will join in next time. Perhaps it's just the time of the day that's the problem, because what time is it in Australia now? It's well, it's 12:30, isn't it? Bedtime. Works out good for me though, because UTC, I'm 2 hours ahead of UTC, so the start time for me in Spain was 11 o'clock in the morning. Let's see, we've got a few messages on here now after my rude comments. VK will be on when we've been through the list. Oh, I see, okay. Okay, they're at the back of the queue then. Ah, what a shame. That's because they're so far away, I guess. Yeah, I'm standing on their head or something. I don't know what they do down there. I have a brother-in-law down there, actually. He emigrated to Brisbane. Well, actually, he emigrated to New Zealand to start with, and then moved to Australia, and now resides, or has resided in, and still resides in Brisbane, somewhere on the Gold Coast. It was my ex-wife's brother and his family. They have a full football team for children. I think they got 12 children. Oh. Out of their tiny minds, I think. I have 2, and that was too many. Okay, so that's it from me. We're going over now to Martin, G8KOE in Somerset in the UK, from EA7KIR, Malaga, Spain. Oh, and by the way, I started to take my shack apart yesterday because it's very hot here, and I finally decided to put my hand in my pocket and have an air conditioning fitted up there on the wall. So everything has to go, and I've half disassembled everything because they're coming on Monday, 9 o'clock on Monday morning, and oh my God, I mean, I spent all day and I've only done half of it. It's the amount of cables and oh my goodness. I'll never get it back together again, because it's all got to come out so that they got access to the wall, because everything's in the way. So I won't be on, Gary, tomorrow, that's for sure. It'll be a miracle if I'm on for Thursday next week for the DATV Net. Okay then, bye from me. I'll pass it over to Martin right now.
Right, hello to everybody. I think we're on. Let's should hear some sound from me very shortly. Right, my name's Martin, located down in Somerset, and as you can see from the 2 little things on the screen, I've got an all-star node that's monitoring 47572, and on Brandmeister talk group 9100. Trying to push those as sort of chit chat back, but prefer it didn't come to life at the moment. You know, the station here is lots of monitors. Got my roving camera. That's one node which is monitoring 9100 on that's why the station. That one that's using the ride, obviously talkback. Another one over there, and that is the all-star node that's sitting down there. Yep, we'll do there, Martin. I'll put it over to VK. I'll give it short. That's a rough idea of the station. And the software and such like that I'm using, if we go to the center screen, I'm using DATV Red, which, as you can see, it's got the BATC spectrum at the top. It's also got a built-in receiver, which is an MQTT server done by F5OEO, which feeds back, and so I can click on any of these and then produce on. Let's click on this one here. Probably say no, we won't do that. But okay, I'm going to go in there with decreasing circles. Basically, it's got a built-in receive side, which will produce and show me there. It's also got all these little pieces up here, which I can select on Mini Tuner. It'll take me straight to whatever I'm selected to. I know we're pushed for time, so let's go over to the next screen over here. There's right screen. Let's go. Right, this is Open Tuner. Top I'm monitoring the feed from the satellite, and the bottom is me. It obviously gets very confusing, so we won't hang around on there too. But that's an excellent piece of software written by Tom, which I don't do, ZR6TG. A big thank you to him. It also does some other things. This is getting silly. Apologies for that. The dish that I'm using is a 1.1 meter dish, which is that one, which is fed by a potty feed and the LNB at the bottom. So it's all on the one dish that sits on top of the garage. That's it. I've cut off a standard LNB just to marry up. But and that's the everything's streamed through to the garage, which I have an aircon unit in there, and on there I was half looking at the chat as well, so something came up. But anyway, as all tidy things are. Right, let's go back to the camera. Must be coming to it. Back to my roving camera to show that lots of other bits and pieces are under there, PATC receivers, etc. All fed, power supply, and my shack is in the corner of the lounge. Little hole in the wall behind the television, but next well is well, very accommodating, shall we say. And I started off with GB3 VR, a video repeater in Brighton. That's in the days when my first transmission was using a Pi Westminster, but we ended up. I think I've got. Let's see if I can find a quick picture. So of me, centre screen. We ended up with a number of repeaters. One on, well, in fact, we ended up including packet and etc., and a digital output on 10 gigs with a commercial encoder. What my signal throwing wobbly, is it? I'm probably trying to do too many things. Anyway, that's enough from me. I'll pass it over to I think it's VK to take it. So thank you everyone for the time, and look forward to it.
Martin, G8KOE, G4FKK. Yeah, we're overrunning a bit with our overs, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass it back to Peter in Australia, and then when we get it back, we'll recommence the list, which starts with Nick, G4 IMOs. So round to you, Peter, and I'll stop streaming from this end. This changeover could get quite technical, everyone, so bear with me. I'll stop streaming and put it round to you. VK3 BFG and the DATV International QSO Party. G4FKK is standing by.
year, and what time I'll give you a quick little update at the end of it. So this only goes for about 2.5 minutes. So I will play that now.
Hello and welcome to the Radio Shack of VK3 VRS. I am an avid ATV operator based in the outer southeastern suburbs of Melbourne, Victoria. As you can see from the map, my studio is 20.63 kilometers from the local Melbourne repeater VK3 RTV. My location is 107 meters or 351 feet above sea level with a clear line of sight view to the repeater as shown in the diagram. This is the actual view towards the repeater site. This ideal location means I do not need huge towers to support my antennas, with the exception of the inverted V antenna for HF. The receiving system consists of a vertical polarized UHF TV antenna that was purchased from a local electronics store. Mounted below the main antenna is a SHF 2.4 GHz grid pack with a down converter to 500 MHz. This is in preparation for the new ATV repeater, VK3 RGL. Based near Geelong on Mount Aniki, it is 76 km from my QTH. The transmission line is RG6 coax, which feeds into a signal booster to make sure there is a strong signal to distribute around the shack. The booster currently feeds 3 set-top boxes. 2 of the 3 boxes are tuned into a separate repeater channel permanently. The output of the set-top boxes is routed through a HDMI splitter. One output of the splitters is used to feed the HDMI capture card in the vMix computer, the other side feeds the 4-to-1 HDMI combiner. The combiner's output is monitored by a 27-inch wall-mounted monitor. This allows both channels to be viewed simultaneously. The third set-top box is used to switch between the 2 repeater channels as required. Here you can see what the monitoring station looks like. We now move on to the transmitting part of the station, which starts with the camera input. I use a Sony Full HD Handycam. HDMI is used to send the video to the 4-port HDMI capture card in the computer. vMix or OBS is used as the software switcher. The computer has a 49-inch curved monitor as its primary display, with a 27-inch monitor as the secondary and a 32-inch TV as the third display. This setup offers a huge amount of screen real estate to keep tabs on all the inputs and outputs, plus various other programs used during an operating session. To aid in the switching duties and help the session run smoothly, a stream deck. Once the program is produced in vMix or OBS, the output is streamed over the local area network to the BATC ports down for DATV software to be encoded and transmitted out of the Lime SDR Mini. A small RF amp from Mini Circuits is used to boost the signal to 500 mW. The transmitted signal is monitored locally by a DVB-S set-top box. The 500 mW is sent to the grid pack antenna, which is pointed to the RTV repeater. Here is an overview of the ATV station. This mixer is used to get audio feeds from the radios and sent to the computer via USB. Lighting is kept simple. There is one 5000K LED globe to light the green screen background and one 5000K downlight to light me in the foreground. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my shack and the equipment I use.
And I've got audio. Now, the things that have updated is basically on the receive station. So you can see there, that's a 8x8 matrix, which I'm using to receive all my HDMI inputs and outputs. If I come back out, things that have changed, not much with that setup. It's still pretty much the same. Still got the same monitors, that one and that one over there. But the station has changed. One thing I have added, which I'm having a lot of fun with, is microwave, and so I've added a 905, and part of that, of course, is ATV on 2.4 gigs, 5 gigs, 10 gigs, and working out a way to do 3 gigs as well. So I don't do much HF, even though I've got some HF equipment there. You can see the green screen there and my messy workbench behind it. So, and I use the A10 Mini now for the analog side of the system. So, and this is one of my input devices which I use. You can see I can control my audio with this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I hope you've enjoyed my little shack tour. I've only been a licensed amateur for about sorry, we've got a bit of back chatter happening. I've only been a licensed amateur for about 6 years, and I've been in ATV transmitting for at least 4 or 5 of those years. Yeah, I was very much that's what I wanted to do. I'm going to change over to test pattern now, and then I'm going to drop off, and then we're going to send signals from a chap just down the hill from me. It's Clinton, VK3 CSJ. So I'll put this on, and then I'll drop off, Clint, and then you come up.
Hope it's working. Righto. Looks like I need more lighting, don't I? Oh, good evening and good morning, everyone. I'm really impressed with the way things are working today. Yes, we've had our technical issues, but I'm suitably impressed. Peter, you've still got hair on your head. That's the main thing. We had over 22. Sorry, what was that, Richard? Oh, okay. Sorry, back chat stuff. Yeah, okay. So yes, we had over 22 stations today with the from the state side, and I was really impressed with that. Practically all the audio levels were all about the same. No real major issues. Everybody had IDs, so you know who their names and call signs were. Previous years, you've always been scratching your head who it was that was talking. So to the folks that are still up late watching this transmission tonight in the States, I commend your work today, and happy birthday if you're listening there, Art. Happy birthday. And to Roland, absolutely magic what you do to get all those stations to come through. So I don't know whether you're up there watching at the moment, but good on you blokes for doing such an excellent job today. Anyway, my name's Clint, VK3CSJ, as you can see up there. And been licensed since 1976, and we started out with ATV in the analogue days, and it was all very good fun because of the temperature inversions that used to occur between here and South Australia and Tasmania and elsewhere. It was always amazing stuff to get signals over the horizon. Anyway, very pleasant good evening to John, Dave, Gary, Leon, Michael and Martin so far. I am absolutely, my mouth is dropping to the floor because I can't believe that we're getting South Africa coming through and Europe. This is a first. I mean, as far as the QSO party is concerned, it is a first to have these stations coming in from these parts of the world. So it is fantastic. And again, good on you, Pete, for being able to locate these fellows. And of course the internet here is making it so much easier. The quality of the vision is just outstanding. I run an SR transmitter, the German SR system, and it only runs about a watt on 1246 DBS2 and all HD, so I'm fairly pleased with the system, the way it works. I'll just show you a quick aerial. I've got about a minute's worth of drone footage taken of the area where I am, and I'll just run that now. I'll should be able. I don't think there's any audio there. I'll talk over it. But that's the cell tower where our local repeater is situated. VK3 RMC. The repeater there is used for just about all the comms this side of town. I'm about 40 kilometres southeast of Melbourne, and there's the view towards Port Phillip Bay and towards Melbourne coming up. I'm just down there in the footprint of the repeater, and then we're going to segue to that's looking towards Melbourne at the moment, just over through those hills just there. And this will segue into the barn. I live in a barn on an acre and a half of land. There's a couple of my antennas as we go over the treetops. And we've been here for 13 years in a place called Narre Warren South. And it's not a bad little location. That's looking towards the repeater, due east, and coming down on the barn. So there's the barn. That's where I live. That's where the Radio Shack is. That's my two 14-metre towers there with a log periodic and HF beam. So fairly happy with the station. The station used to be in the upper stairs of the barn. I've now relocated everything downstairs, so everything's in a bit of a state at the moment. I'm still working on rebuilding the shack downstairs, so everything's still in a bit of a disarray. And when I go back to live camera in a second, you'll see how the wall behind me, for example, still needs to be painted, for example. But that's my little location there at the back of a property here, next to a creek. So that's the CSJ location, and if I pick this camera, this is a USB camera. You can see the station behind me. So I've got Collins station here that I want to set up on its own bench. A system of receivers behind me, and the Telefunken transmitter, which I got from a station over there in the Netherlands. It took full months to get here, two container ships, but it arrived safely, so I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so I think that's about it from me at the moment. As you can see, it's coming up to 8 o'clock local time. By the way, I think it was John that was interested in the VLF. It's Northwest Cape. We refer to it as Northwest Cape on 19.8 kilohertz, and it's the signal here in Melbourne is about 20 over 9, so it's quite a good signal. I hope they never get rid of it. All right. I know there's more to say, but we have to keep the ball rolling. So Simon, get ready, and I shall drop off the stream here, and you can fire up. So just stand by.
Howdy folks, I hope you can all hear me clearly. First of all, thank you very much, Peter, for hosting the QSO party, and also thank you in the morning of our time for all of the US contributors, and this evening for the European contributors. And Dave, particularly thank you for the update on the Portsdown. I've got a Portsdown 4 here, which I dabble with from time to time, and certainly enjoy it, and certainly enjoy seeing the progress with the product itself, so thank you. I'm about 65 kilometres southeast of Melbourne in a place called Tooradin, and my line of sight to the repeater is about 37 kilometres, and it is slightly obstructed from what I can gather. But this time last year I was requiring nearly 50 watts from my PA to get into the repeater using DVB-T2. I purchased a high-des 320 and rolled the dice and thought that T2 would be the way to go, and I was aghast at the ridiculous amount of power that was required. With the gain of my antenna and feed losses and whatever, it's about 2.5 kilowatts EIRP, and I knew something was wrong there. I've got an S converter as well, and I know I needed 400 milliwatts out of the shack. I just thought I would say that due to the fantastic work of Peter and others with regard to the environment up in the repeater, the strong RF environment, desensing, issues with couplers and splitters and so forth, we've got there, and now I can sort of thankfully say that I can actually access the repeater using DVB-T2 now, with more of a modest 4 watts out of the amplifier, which is about 200 watts EIRP. So looking forward now to be able to do a lot more experimentation with T2 and amateur television. It was a little bit disheartening at first, but yeah, it's great now, fantastic, and I'll look forward to trying to do a little bit more in ways of contributing and innovating as well, and very much enjoy it. Most of my radio stuff that I do with amateur radio seems to evolve around meteor scatter, which I do most weekends here between VK3 and VK4, and when the conditions are conducive, then I'll jump on 2 meters and do 2 meter EME as well using mainly JT65 and Q65. So that's the kind of things I like to do. But as I say, looking forward to doing a lot more with DATV now that I can get into the repeater much more reliably. And again, thank you to Peter and the team for all the hard work in getting that done. And again, thank you for the QSO party, and thank you for everybody overseas who's joining, and your presentations have been fascinating. So thank you. And what I'll do now is end this and hand over to the next person. So whoever that is, good luck and thank you, and I'll stop streaming. Cheers.
Good evening, everyone. This is Peter, VK3TLF. I'm in Melbourne, in the southeastern suburbs. I'll just turn off my own headset so it doesn't distract me. So tonight, I thought I'd talk about some of my journey into the world of ATV. I had a particularly difficult journey, so I thought I'd just share this with everyone on the net. To hopefully it can help some other people that have also got difficult paths that can actually give it a go, because I didn't know whether I'd get in, but I did in the end have some success. So I'll just go over to the first slide. This is my path. So I'm not sure whether you can see up to read the elevation at the top of the list, but that says 454 metres. Now over on the right hand side, my elevation is about 230 metres, so I've got quite a bit of dirt, and on the left hand side is the RTV repeater. So I'm knife edging over the local mountain, which is Mount Dandenong, to get into the repeater. So I thought, well, let's see what the path losses is. So I'll just show, I threw that into radio mobile. So up on the left hand side at the top there, you might notice that my path loss says 184 dB. Now that's fairly bad. So I thought, wow, that's going to be a challenge. So what happens if I was just going direct? So I threw in radio mobile my heights up to 500 metres over the height of mountain, and just to see what my direct path loss would be. And you can see there it comes in 129 dB. So, okay, so that's a lot of loss over a direct path. So moving on, I then thought, well, let's look into this knife edge thing. I've never done it before, never played with it, I've heard of it, and let's see what it looks like. So I threw it into, there's an online knife edge calculator on the internet, so I threw all the parameters into that. And down the bottom, the number came out at 156 dB path loss at on 1246 megahertz. So that's a fair bit, certainly a lot higher than 129. So I've certainly got some ground to make up. So let's look at Excel. Let's see what we can do with this. So I threw it into Excel, and now that path loss is saying 160 because I was playing with some other frequencies and so forth, but it's actually 156. But at the top end though, you still notice the net RX, even with an extra 4 dB off that, still at minus 90 at the repeater, and that's with 15 watts output into a 20 dB gain antenna, and I allowed a couple of dB for losses in connectors and coax and so forth. So, and the other factor is I'm actually in the middle of two antennas, two panel antennas at the RT repeater. So they're supposedly 8 dB panels, but because I'm at least probably 30, 40 degrees off the native direction of those panels, I'm going to be down at best 6 dB, I'd guesstimate, but that's just my guesstimate. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to have to go two ways. I'm going to have to go high power and high gain. So let's have a look at some other numbers. So on the left there, you can see I calculated out, okay, if I had no mountain, I could theoretically get in with hardly anything, with the distance I am from the repeater. Half a watt would probably get me in with a moderate, just get in, and maybe a watt would get a pretty solid signal. I'll probably end up with about minus 78 or something like that. So in the middle, you can see there I've then put the numbers in. Okay, let's play around. All right, so let's try 15 watts. Now let's see what we can find for gain. So I looked around. I thought about co-phasing a whole lot of Yagis, but that gets expensive, and then there's loss in co-phasing harnesses and lots of connectors, lots of coax and so forth. It's like, oh, that's another way to do it. And I discovered that you can get C-band dishes. You can get them for free a lot of the time off Facebook Marketplace and other places, or you can even buy a brand new C-band dish, like a China panel dish, for here that was priced at $280 Australian. So it's like, well, at least it comes with a mount and all the brackets and all the screws, and it's not going to be bent. So I thought, well, I went down the route of just buying a brand new panel dish. So the numbers on that with 15 watts come out at about minus 83. Now, funnily enough, this was actually enough to actually get a stable link to the repeater. And although it's fringe, it is a little bit condition affected, but it got me into the repeater, and I was able to do a broadcast with this. So I then did some equations. On the right-hand side, you can see there, I was like, well, what if I go up to higher power, 50 watts into it, with that level of gain? Well, that starts to get pretty, a lot more reasonable. So at 50 watts, it'll get me minus 78, which certainly, I'm not sure what the thresholds for a stable signal is on DVB-S2, which is what I'm running, but at least it's not out of question mark. I'm not having to run like 500 watts to get a decent signal. So just turn the background header down. So yeah, so that was my journey. So in the end, I'll show you what I ended up with. So this is a 2.4 meter Johnston dish that I ended up putting up. It's got, I didn't know whether this was even going to work, so it was all improvised. You can see lots of cable ties. The feed on that is out of a grid, a 1200 meg grid antenna, and I measured it all out, measured the focal points on the dish and so forth, and set it all out and so forth, and used lots of PVC pipe and cable ties, and it actually works. So I'm stoked, because I did not think this was even possible. So, all right, well, that's my little presentation anyway. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helps someone with their journey into ATV. Thank you, and I'll pass it back to the UK for the next broadcast.
Okay, brilliant. Well, so far so good. This is G4FKK. It looks like I've got some of the correct audio going at any rate. Yes, well, thank you to everyone from the Australian side of the party. All very interesting. What I've had to do, chaps, on QO-100, I've had to split the list into two because we were overrunning our slots somewhat. So, oh, hang on, I've got the back channel coming through, which is, there we are. Yes, so all very interesting. Now back on what I've had to do, chaps, on QO-100, I've had to split the list into two because we were overrunning our slots somewhat, which is so I put on the chat and also on Gary's list. I've got the back channel coming through, which is, there we are. Yes, so next G4IMO. All very interesting. Now back on what I've had to do, chaps, on QO-100, I've had to split the list into two because we were overrunning our slots somewhat, which is, and Benno on Gary's list to be the back channel coming through, which is ghastly happening to the audio. Next G4IMO. Right. So without more ado, round to you, Nick. Carry on. So if we could keep overs to about 2 or 3 minutes, that would help the timing on the other side of the event. G4 Italy Mike Oscar Golf for Fox Kilo Kilo standing by. Right. So without more.
Yeah, okay, Martin, G4FKK. Yeah, okay. Just check my audio, G4IMO. Yes, try and keep my my transmission as short as possible. There's a lot of stations on today. Anyway, for those watching in Australia or even America or wherever you are, my name is Nick. I'm in the town of Wisbech, which is in the centre of the UK, where it is 18 degrees centigrade, so relatively warm at the moment. Excuse me. Yes, I started off in ATV in 1968. Started off on 405 lines and slowly increased up to 625. And anyway. Yeah, I was watching the other stream, the VK3CE stream earlier on, and I saw some of the stations coming through from the USA. That was very interesting as well. Okay, yeah, so I'll try and keep it fairly short. I'll just quickly show you what I'm using here. This is the antenna that I'm using. It's a 1.3 meter offset dish, and I'll show you the feed. The feed is the same feed that Martin G8KOE was showing, which is just the this one here, the patch feed with the LMB on there as well, and the patch is fed with a short piece of Heliax. So that's what I'm using there. I'll go back to my camera. Okay. Anyway, I'd like to thank everyone who organised this. It's obviously a very complex thing to organise, but anyway, excellent work. Okay, I'm gonna pass it round to Frank now, and as I say, there's quite a few stations on here. So round to you, Frank. G8 Papa Quebec Hotel to take, G4IMO.
Well, sorry about that, Frank. Afraid we saw your pictures rather slow. We saw your pictures rather slowly, but no audio, I'm afraid, which was disappointing. Well, good evening, afternoon, morning, everybody. What a privilege to be involved in this amazing piece of work by all those concerned. Congratulations. As most of you who haven't already met me, I obviously belong to the geriatric end of the spectrum. I've been licensed now, coming up for 72 years. Started at school. I was born and grew up in the county of Somerset, where we have now retired, and my forebears all came from here, tracing the direct line back to about 1610. They were yeoman farmers, and my father was the first one to move more than 5 miles away from the family home, family farms. I've been all over the country. As I went to school in Somerset, I was licensed while still at school in 1953. And we lived in an old former farmhouse which had lots of land, so antennas and so forth were easy to do in reflection, unlike now. And then I was in the RAF in the days of national service, and I taught HF radio gear for the V bombers, the Victor, Valiant, and Vulcan. I did aircrew transitioning from Lancasters, which was quite interesting. Then joined the BBC in the days of 405 lines, black and white television, 3.5 image orthicons, and nothing solid state, no transistors in anything. So that was all a very long time ago. Amateur radio's continued throughout the whole of my subsequent career. I eventually turned my collar round, became parish priest for 30 years, and then retired to this beautiful city, which I'll just share with you for a few moments, the city of Wells, down in the deepest Somerset. So if we let's just go over here, and this is our beautiful cathedral, built in the 12th and 13th century. This is our market square in Wells. Just looking back the other way, the market square of the cathedral in the background there, with the archways to the cathedral and to the bishop's palace. So if we go to the bishop's palace, there's the entrance. It's entirely fortified with a drawbridge and all the rest of it, including a lovely moat. And this is the bishop's palace, medieval parish, Jacobean part, and the bishop now lives in the servants' quarters over there, and it's all open to the public. This is the moat with our swans, great visitor attraction, right round the bishop's palace. Looking back across the fields on my way home, it's just like a large village, really, although it's technically called a city, because it's got a cathedral, and that's looking down the other side of the cathedral. So that sort of walked all the way around it. And then this is a great attraction. This is the oldest inhabited street, continually inhabited street in Europe. This is known as Vicar's Close, part of the cathedral properties, where the choirmen and vergers and other cathedral people live. And looking back down from the other direction, very, very beautiful again, great visitor attraction. And this is where I live, just about 10 minutes walk up the road, not in the whole of this, just this little bit here. It's sort of 2 rooms down and 3 rooms up, basically, with the shack in the loft. And this is the back of the building, and you can see not much room. There's the dish, just fires between the local church spire and the chimney there, bit of attenuation, but no room for any aerials. So the joys of unlimited aerials that I had earlier in my career, both in various vicarages and in my childhood home. I no longer have. This is a listed building, which you have to be very careful. So I just got a few very discreet wires plus the dish. So DATV has helped me tremendously. And as far as HF work, I'm now restricted more or less to Whisper. This was this morning, which is quite impressive, really, with 500 milliwatts just to a piece of wire. Down into Antarctica, across to America, and across to Australia. There we go. So that's our HF activity now, 500 milliwatts, despite the fact I have some still fairly decent HF gear. Here's a quick look around the shack before I pass it over to Saro. Let's just go on to the other camera. So here we are. So we're using OpenTuner. Thank you, Tom. Brilliant piece of software. That's running off the Homebrew Mini Tuner ride underneath. I'm not using the Winter Hill at the moment. We've got Ham Clock running there. This is the streamer, BATC streamer. That's another of my sidelines, Mediterranean Railways and so forth. That's the PA power supply and the main camera, and 2m77s, a Icon 705, the Portsdown, Homebrew Portsdown, and a virtually unused Flex 6700. The gift from a grateful parish when I retired. So reluctant to pass it on, but I don't use it because it's too difficult. So there we are. So that's and there's the Whisper beavering away, 6 bands every 20 minutes. So that's basically it from me. Let's go back to the other camera. It was a great privilege to be able to join in and see all this wonderful equipment around the world. And DATV has really been my salvation in amateur radio, with the frustrations of the HF being in this location. So that's it from me. Cheers for now, everybody. And, well, hope to see you next year if we're able to repeat this. So it's Saro, VU2OBR on the QO-100 satellite, which is what we're all on from the UK. Over to you. I'll just stick up a test card just to make sure that there we are. That's another of my love.
Hi everyone, long time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you very much guys for the opportunity to join from India. I was seeing the message from Gary and suddenly joined here. I'm not prepared anything. So hope all are receiving well for my transmission, and I don't take much time, just for want to say hello to everyone through the QSO party. So next goes to Bino, I think. So nothing else from my side. 73 is all of you. See you in the next time with a brief introduction. 73 is bye-bye. Bino, please go ahead and start your transmission.
Oops. Come on. Yeah, hi guys. I have changed my setup a little bit today in order to accommodate as much as possible. I am streaming this also on the internet. I'm also streaming this on the local repeater, and well, to monitor everything and do everything with the same computer, I need to focus. Okay, anyway, hi to the east and the west, the south and the north. I always say normally that means not farther than India, but I understand. We are watching today from Australia and maybe even the US, all sides of the globe, which is perfect, I would say. Thank you, Martin, for organizing this, and Gary for helping out this. It's great to get this opportunity. Well, on the QO-100 this sounds to be normal, but having also Australia on the other side, on the one side, and America maybe on the other side, it's perfect. My name is Benno, PA3FBX. I'm ham for over 30 years, but I am doing DATV more or less like 5-6 years since QO-100 came along. Before that did analog TV, but as it is only limited to very local things, I kind of get bored. I'm kind of like to build stuff. One thing what I want to start, well, I haven't prepared much, but I want to show you one thing first, and that's not this. Let me quickly show you a little bit on Holland. So Holland is obviously famous of this, which is, and I don't want to make it too long, so I will put it a little bit to the front to get at least this. This is not our daily job anymore, so I want to warn you that's not this, but just to be sure, I'm from Holland. This is what I wanted to show. Then I can show you a little bit around my antenna array. Living here for around 4 years. This is what I built in the meantime, and I'm proud to have 2 dishes, a 1.8 meter dish for the QO-100 and a 1.2. This is for the local repeater. I'm also doing on, I have built a local repeater which is about 20 kilometers from here, and I don't have much problems from that. because I am one of the few lucky I don't have mountains in Holland. Holland is quite flat. The highest mountain is about 100 meters high, and so we don't have problems with mountains. It's partly at sea level, and some parts are below sea level. So that's the reason why we don't have much mountains, which is a blessing and a problem at the same time, because being at sea level, I need to build a high antenna to get at least a little bit from my home. But if I would build something like 25 meters, I would be easily have a line of sight for 100 kilometers without any problem. So this is my home, and I'm quickly moving to the next, because I promised, as I said, it's quite flat here. Let me move to this picture, and this is the amplifier. I'm also doing a fast forward there, because it's nice to see all the hardware, but I'm doing a fast forward to see the surroundings from the antenna. This is 23 SAMs, this is 13 SAMs, transmitting on 13, receiving on 23, receiving on 1.2. If you look at it, it's only 35 meters high, so that's not very high. But our area is about 60 to 100 kilometers around, depending on the receiving side, obviously. What is the problem in Holland is nowadays the electrical generators, windmills. They are producing a lot of problems for us, and I wonder if that is also something. You see, it has a clean line of sight. There's one tower on the other side, which is about the same height, but it has a pretty clean line of sight. But on the if we fast forward, I don't want to bother too much. You see all kind of hang on, that is too fast. You see windmills, and they produce on 70 SAMs, on 23 SAMs, a lot of problems for people to get and to receive this signal, getting all kind of flutter on this this line of sight. And I wonder if that's well, anyone get a solution for that, because that's the problem in Holland. We have a lot of those generators causing the reception and transmitting problems. Okay, well, that's something to think about. I will then go back to my own face, and we'll give another try on what I just wanted to do. Let's see if I can do this quickly. Yeah, I can do that. So I move to this, and this is a warning I want to hand out to everyone. As I told you, I'm building. I like to build stuff. And here you have the famous Mitsubishi module, which is well famous, I would say. They have them for several bands, like 2 meters or 70 SAMs or 23 or 30. Well, not for 13, but they have them for a lot of bands. And I have received a bunch of these, which, according to this, the note It says clearly it's for 23 SAMs, 1200 to 1300 MAC, and it is working perfectly, but not on 23 SAMs but on 70 SAMs. Apparently they have a whole batch of these with 70 SAMs electronics inside. It works perfectly on 70 SAMs, despite it says it is 23 SAMs. And I want you to stress, and I want to make it clear, it's not very clear on my camera, I see, but you see the well, I will name it the batch number. It's 129 AB minus CB, which is there. And even if you buy a few weeks later, you buy another one and you get another one of the same batch. And I want to stress everyone, if they are going to buy a Mitsubishi module, please have a look if it's that batch. Don't even open it, send it back. It's wrong module. Well, at least not for the 23 SAMs, which are more expensive than the 70 SAMs, and you don't want those. Let's turn off the music. Obviously, quick look on the rest of the shack. This is my pride of joy, which is just out of the mobile home, which is my multi-rig. It is consisting of a right and a ports down next to each other in a 19-inch rack, doing everything from 160 meters up to the QO-100 on 10 gig. So I can use this transmitter for receiving and transmitting on DATV and on SSB with the Langstone from the shortwave up to the QO-100. It did a nice job, but it has some problems, and it's a work in progress for me always. Next to it, the QO-100, the mobile setup I had on my mobile, and it has the bullseye and the helical above, which doesn't work. Hi. Okay, to give you an overview, like I said, I'm a work in progress. This is my shack. It needs to be cleaned up. Now it's clean now because there is a clean spot there. Obviously lots of monitors, lots of computers, lots of hardware stuff. I have multiple winter hills, multiple transceivers, and I don't want to talk too much on that. That's a long over already, more than 3 minutes I was given. Handing it over to the next one. Mike, G0, do I have a desk cam? Yeah, I have. G0, MJW from PA3 Foxtrot Bravo X-ray. 73's all. This will be my only last over. 73's see you over next week or next Sunday or next year, whatever is appropriate. By the way, lots of streaming done on the QO-100, but also on the local internet, and maybe besides the BATC there should be more visible there, so people can attend on the internet and doing this same job. That's the last bombshell I want to give. Passing it over to you, Mike. 73's all from PA3 Fox Bravo X-ray.
Alright, thank you, Benno. Hopefully I'm coming through, audio's working, etc. Despite Windows Update. Seem to be needing more power, but I think that's probably a system issue rather than anything else. But let's see. Anyway, hello everyone. Good to be on the net, and yeah, it's good to see the guys from Australia. That is unusual. It's a pity you don't have the same access to the satellite, apart from Christmas Island, I think. But it would be good to have one that was able to cover Australia and the UK. But that's quite a challenge, really, isn't it? Needs some sort of linking. Right. I've just got a few things to show you, given that we are supposed to be keeping to 2 or 3 minutes. So I'll just go to this one. This is my dish with the feed without anything on it at the moment. Actually, I've changed it for a slightly different one. Just to give you an idea of what you need to uplink to QO-100. That's a different version of the potty, one that we were testing back in the day, and that's also a different LNB. I'm now using a Bullseye, which is much more convenient. That did do all the things you might want it to do, but it failed after a while. So there we go. Right. Anyway, that's enough of that. The other thing I was going to talk about is this, which, having seen the question regarding getting to repeaters and things, this is some software I produced a while back now. It's called Path Profile. And it allows you to do that sort of calculation. So what we've got here is we've got 70 centimeters, but we could change that to 1.2 gigahertz, and do the calculation again, and it'll give you basically the zones. And if you like, you can make the Earth go flat, because it's usually the Earth that gets in the way if on the longer paths. And you can then look at other things. So this is currently at 50% of time, but if you wanted to know what it would be like at 99% reliability, that's going to be quite a challenge. It would be a much, 50s, not 99, I put it in the wrong way. 1% availability, where you might have Tropo. I'll give you a different answer, and you probably see the numbers changing there. And you can look at your local terrain, and you can do all sorts of things. You can work out what the coverage was, and you can evaluate your site, which I think is what our Australian colleague was doing. So you can look in a different direction and work out what the signal strength will be, and then you can mess around with that. So if you've got 100 watts and an antenna gain of 10 dB, this will give you your field strength in dB microvolts per meter, which might be the sort of thing you want to know. I don't know. Right, anyway, given that there are a lot of people on the net, and we're supposed to keep to 1 to 2 minutes, and Martin's even telling me off here for being too long, I will say 7-3 to everybody. Good to see you all on the net, and have a good weekend. So G0MJW, I've got to pass it to Ed, PY2RN, so round to you, Ed, G0MJW.
Good morning, everyone. I just had a wake-up call from South Africa. No, it's just joking. I was already. Thanks, Mike G0MGW. This is Papa Yankee 2 Radio November. Nice to see. I saw Benno and Mike. Kind of early for me. That's 7:44 at the moment, but nice to join this net, and glad to show something here from Golf 66 Lima Whiskey, which is city of Vinhedo near São Paulo. I'm located about 75 kilometers from the São Paulo city. Satellite elevation for us here is a challenge. It's about 7 degrees only. Very easy to get blocked because the low elevation. I was lucky here, my QTH, that I could get visibility. to the satellite, but for very little I could not get on this satellite. But yes, that's been working since the beginning, 2019, I believe. I started on SSB, and I think 1 year later I just started here on DATV. I never here in Brazil there is no activity at all for ATV or DATV. I mean, ATV years 90 or 80, between 80 and 90, there was an ATV station located at our ham radio association. They got a repeater, but at that time I was living very far from the repeater. I never got a chance to receive the signals from ATV from there. So that's the only activity that I have knowledge that happened here. I think that was 88, yeah, something 1988 to 1990, something like that. All right, I'm gonna show you my station here. If I can find where I put it, yeah. Let me show you something.
CQDX.
Yeah, this is my HF tower. Yeah, that's showing the dishes. This one is for SSB, 1.2 offset dish, and this is a prime focus dish for 1.5 meter. That's for receiving. There is no more helix in front of the LNB. I just removed the helix, which improved my reception. So that's a dedicated RX, DATV RX only. Yeah, and that's the 2.3 meter prime focus dish, meshed dish for transmitting on 2.4 gigahertz only for the ATV. Yeah, the Pluto, I use the Pluto amplifier, everything is inside this box. Actually, I'm using a different box now, but yeah, that's the idea. And I'm using different amplifier. I no longer use the EDUP, and yeah, that's a different equipment, but everything is on the roof. Yeah, those are the VHF and UHF Yagis that I use for LEOs and sometimes for EME as well. I don't. Yeah, that's the old amplifier. I don't even know if I have it already. But that's it. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Greetings from Brazil, and I think I should send back to Gary, maybe. So, Zulu Sierra 6 Yankee India, back to you, Gary. This is Papa Yankee 2 Radio November 73, all. Gary, maybe. So, Zulu Sierra 6 Yankee India.
Okay, I'll just mute this. Good evening, everybody. Well, it's good evening from here in Australia. The handle this way is Tony, and the call sign is Victor Kilo 7 Alpha X-ray. I'm situated or located in the regional township of Ulverston, here on the northwest coast of the island of Tasmania. Currently, I don't have any ATV viewers. I do have a digital high definition transmitter that I run, but currently don't have any, as I said, any viewers at the moment. So we're remote from VK3 land by what, a couple of 100 kilometres or so. So we use SRT and various other internet methods to talk to the other chaps. And anyway, it's good to see you. We're very interested in the UK stations, the Europe stations. Good to see you all. Excellent pictures. And I won't hold it from here. I'll hand it back to, I think it's to go to Bevan, VK5BD from here. So it's goodbye from Tasmania, down under.
Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are located on this big round object. Thank you very much, Peter, for organising this QSO party, and yeah, it's good to see all the stations coming in from QO-100. Fairly impressive bit of kit. Unfortunately, nothing like that floating around in our area, but one day maybe, who knows. Another chap that would normally come up over here in Whyalla is away doing baby visiting duties, so I've got a small video to play from him, so I'll play that now.
VK5YYY here in the workshop. Well, it all started with the wok lid, and then I fell in love. Ain't love grand? And Digilight, that was fun. Well, it did look a bit better with the lid on. And there were some European DATV projects. But this one was very good. And up converters became a thing. Then they were combined with commercial modulators. And then they got smaller. This is a photo from the article we put in AR magazine. And this is pretty much where it landed. Well, getting more compact and more compact. We tried 2.4 gig operations. That was a challenge. And yeah, my wife couldn't get the garage door open with this thing running. Portable DATV. Well, this little beauty made a contact across the other side of Spencer's Gulf. And yeah, you can fit a lot of stuff in that box. This is the VK5 YYY Go-Go Mobile. And this is the setup we used to use to broadcast our club meetings. But it was heavy. And we gave pedestrian DATV a crack. And this is another take on portable. And this is the QSO party OB I did last year. That's a photo from my XYL from home. And this is the Pico cell. That was one of the highlights of amateur TV recently. And it's amazing what you can do when you reverse engineer an LNB. Things can get a little out of hand. And this is the big boy. This little fella was a bit warm to the touch and formed the basis of the 6 metre project. And to receive 6 metres, of course, you needed some sort of spy-vertery thing. And this thing made the 6 metre and 3 centimetres joined together as one. And this is it here in the shed at home. And the radiating system. And recently we broadcast H.265 into the local repeater. Wideband, of course. Thanks for watching. And thanks to everyone who put in to make the QSO party a great success.
So there we go. That is a small package put together by Roger VK5 YYY. And the Digilight and similar projects was potentially what got me into amateur radio. I've only been licensed about 9 years, and the impetus to get my license was that Roger was playing around with DATV with the local repeater that VK5 DMC had installed, and to be legal to do the transmissions, I thought I'd better get my license. So that's what I did, and this is where I've ended up. Anyway, I'm going to hand it over to my fellow neighbouring ham operator. John, here is your turn.
Very good evening, everybody, and thank you, Bevan. Now, just to avoid confusion, I won't nominate the time of day. I'll just simply say the Australian g'day. That covers everything. But not to be outdone, because we've also had other nationalities. I will also say goedemorgen for my Dutch and African friends. And if you're from England, which is my wife is, she's from Manchester, or Wythenshawe to be precise, I'll just say, what will I say? I'll say, I've forgotten it. Oh yeah, hey up, that will do. Yeah, it's a multitude of languages, just in English, isn't it? Anyway, I've been an amateur for about 45 years and ATV for about 8 years. So, yeah, enjoying it very much. But the problem I have is that, yeah, I do have bits of equipment. It's not my middle name. It's been working for a long time, so I don't touch it. I leave it alone, and while it's working, I'm happy. Now, I've also digressed away from amateur radio into a hobby that also has good vibes for the amateur radio, and all will become clear. And to save time, I've recorded it so I don't waffle. So have a look at it.
A little while ago, I came into a bit of money, and I knew I had to get one. A 3D printer. And I was able to justify to she who holds the money to the many advantages to having a 3D printer. I have been increasingly discovering a potential of 3D printing. This innovative technology isn't just a passing trend, it's a game changer that has fueled my creativity and needs. These are just some of the advantages of integrating 3D printing into the ham radio hobby. One of the most significant benefits of 3D printing in ham radio is the ability to create custom parts specifically to individual needs and preferences. 3D printing allows me to craft unique solutions that not only reflect my personal style, but optimize my exact needs. 3D printing facilitates quick iterations of design and concepts, enabling ham radio enthusiasts to prototype and test new ideas with minimal lead time. Whether it's a novel antenna design or a specialized mounting bracket, this technology allows for the rapid creation, testing, and refinement of models, significantly speeding up my creative process. Crafting replacements for damaged parts or specialized components previously available only through costly or hard to source is made easier and cheaper through 3D printing. But I can easily print the parts that are needed on demand, reducing waste and saving money. 3D printing opens the door to experimental antenna designs that might otherwise be challenging or impractical to build. Operators can create unique geometries and configurations to enhance performance and resilience, while experimenting with different materials for strength and durability. This versatility fosters creativity, allowing me to push boundaries in my amateur radio hobby. So in conclusion, incorporating 3D printing into ham radio represents a leap towards innovation and personalization, benefiting both seasoned operators and newcomers alike. By embracing this technology, ham radio enthusiasts can not only enhance their own setups, but also contribute to a vibrant community devoted to experimentation and new discoveries. So, whether you're designing a new antenna mount, crafting a unique upgrade, or simply looking for solutions to hardware challenges, the possibilities are endless. 3D printing at your fingertips. I would not be without it.
And indeed, it's worked for me. This is my fox hunting antenna. Everything in red, I printed off, and mostly designed myself as well. And the fittings themselves took quite a few goes just to get it right, but it worked fine. It works for me, and I'm sure it will work for you as well. So 3D printing, to me, an important part of ham radio as well now. Anyway, thanks for everybody who organised everything. I won't remember all the names, but also thank you, Bevan, for coordinating the wireless side. It's unfortunate, usually we have more operators, but it must be holiday season or something. Anyway, thank you, Bevan. We'll pass it back to you, and we'll wish you a good night. Good night, everybody, and everybody around the world.
Thank you very much there, John. And yeah, it is unfortunate. We normally have 8 operators on amateur TV here in the Spencer Gulf region using VK5 RDC, but for various reasons they've not been available today, so it's disappointing. Maybe next time, hopefully. Yes, and yeah, some of you will know that I'm producers of the video for the WA Weekly News. Made a bit of a rod for my own back there every week, but that's the way things go. So once this is finished tonight, I'll be off to make a video. So it's probably 3.5 hours worth of stuff to go yet. But anyway, it's been good doing this. So thank you very much, everybody. I'll hand it back over to Pete.
Hello and welcome. It was difficult to find out the topic for this short segment. I thought I'd call it My Journey, essentially depicting how I got here and my interest in amateur television. I think the best place to start is my QIZ page. Originally it was just a page describing who I am and what I'm doing, and it turned out into being a blog site. It sort of depicts all my different rabbit holes, what I got into, my interests and so forth. It is quite lengthy, so I'm not going to bore you with it, other than the fact that you can look it up if you're interested. But there was many rabbit holes ranging from software, radio, various bits of hardware, pre-distortion, Simulink, MathLab, just about everything. Countless rabbit holes that you could spend literally years investigating. For me, it was very interesting. I got a lot of insights and knowledge and dabbled with all of those sort of technologies. And my last dabble, when I posted quite a while ago, it was the beginning of this year actually. And I'm actually surprised how far I got since that time, with lots of distractions in between that haven't been documented. Yeah, the last update was on the 1st of the 1st, 2024, where I said that I'm about to go into another rabbit hole, which is amateur television. Well, here I am, and hopefully the short little segment that will follow will show you the bit of hardware that I built that is actually transmitting this segment to you guys. Enjoy it, and when we got more time, maybe another session into my activities will follow. All the best and take care, guys.
I gather round the screen, signals bright and clean. Across the world we beam, living out the dream. From Melbourne to UK, Europe joins the fray. Digital waves take flight, sharing in the night. Hello from QSO for you and me. Projects we create and share, adventure in the air.
Finally. Excellent. G'day, my name's Jeff, VK3GE, and I'm very lucky. I've got a shack dedicated in the house, lots and lots of room, very accommodating wife. I've just got a quick video to run which will show you the shack and some of the local wildlife that hangs out outside of the shack. I live on a acreage, and there's always lots of wildlife around to see. So it's my HF, VHF, UHF, SHF transceivers. That's the ATV part of the shack. Receivers, transmitters, audio mixer, ATEM multi-view. The radio computer, stream deck, ATEM mini, one of the ATV receivers for the repeater. That's my transmitters, amplifiers, both DVB S2, that's the S2 transmitter which I'm using currently. An SR Systems one that are built into a box. It's an 18 watt and a 2.5 watt transmitter that I all homebrew. There's just some of the locals that are outside the shack at times. That's my front yard. So I have lots and lots of room. Just some of the local the birds. There's always local birds around of lots of varieties. That these ones are just something colourful. It's just some of the Black Angus cattle that are just in the next paddock over from me, and on the opposite side of the shack, that's some of the local horses. Those horses don't belong to me. As you can see, it gets a little bit windy sometimes, but luckily all the antennas have survived so far. That's the house that I live in. Shack's at the far right corner of that, and the two towers. Both towers are around about 8 to 10 metres tall. The actual wind-up one can go up to 14 metres. They're the antennas that I'm currently using. The 28 element, 23 centimetre loop Yagi is what I'm transmitting on. And that's the view from outside the shack back towards the city. That's the Melbourne CBD, that's 40 kilometres away, and where the little V symbol is pointed down to, that's where the repeater is, and that's 60 kilometres away. I normally can use anything around about 10 to 20 milliwatts to get into the repeater. Currently running 4 watts, running high powered today. Alright, I'll pass it on to Mick, 3CH, he's the next up.
Welcome to the 12th International QSO Party. I haven't made any changes to the station this year, So I'll show you a short video of what we have been up to over the last year. You're watching VK3CH, Digital Amateur Television. Years ago I used to be a member of WANSARC, the Western and Northern Suburbs Amateur Radio Club. Every year in January they would have a family fun day at Bundoora Park, and I used to set up an amateur television portable station and transmit the day's events live back to VK3RTV, which back then was located in Olinda, a little over 32 kilometres away. This is a picture of our latest project, a DVB-T 23cm amateur radio television transmitter. This is the front view. Here's a close-up of the analog television dish that operates on 10 gigs. You can see all the components there. Here's a picture of our 24 gigahertz analog television dish using Kuhn equipment that runs 330 milliwatt. When I first went portable with the 3.4 gigahertz grid pack, it fell over in the wind because it was too top heavy, so I completely redesigned it, and this was a test later on at Doncaster just to make sure it was working, which it was. Use a rotary table to sight your dishes. This allows to sight them to the nearest degree. Both the radio heads are installed on camera tripods. On my main tripod, I added some chain so the legs can't accidentally open up. The 23cm band 5-element Yagi is very solidly made. I chose a smaller aerial to make sure everything would pack neatly in the car. The butterfly nut adjusts the vertical height of the dish, which is only really needed to be adjusted over extremely long distances. Is the specification sheet of the dual band dish feed for 5 and 10 gigs. What I like about this is the isolation is sufficient enough that when you use one band, every leakage of power going on the other band is not enough to hurt the IC905. Here is the gear all set up ready for portable. On the left you've got the grid pack for 3.4 gigahertz and the IC705 feeding the grid pack. To the right you've got the 2.4 gigahertz panel antenna on the top, and then just to the right of that is the 1.2 gigahertz Yagi beam. Underneath that is the combined 5.7 and 10 gigahertz dish, and then the IC905 that feeds all that. There is a dome camera to transmit television, and everything's powered by the 50 amp lithium battery you see on the ground. Here's a side view of the equipment, and the high voltage power lines do not interfere with the microwave frequencies at all. Here's a picture of me receiving analogue television from Barrabol Hills, 15 kilometres east of Geelong, 115 kilometres away. There's a little bit of herringbone pattern on it, but otherwise it's pretty good copy.
Just so you know, the VKs are about to do a reset because we're getting no audio from Roland, who's in the United States. So bear with us. Normal service will be resumed as soon as possible.
We're aware of no audio. We're working on it.
Quick update, the gear is just being switched off and back on again. It's getting that technical.
I'm Jim, K6SOE, and I'm in Pittsburgh, California, which is about 40 miles east of San Francisco. And the Mount Diablo system up here is DVB-S, DVB-S2 input on 1200 megahertz, output on 1200 megahertz, DVB-S at the present time. We've got about a dozen users up here check into my net every week, which is on Thursdays at 0300 Zulu on the ATN-TV whereby stream. So hopefully my audio's coming through, and from there I'll send it back to Roland. And if you're not watching ATV, you're just not getting the picture. 7-3, glad to be here, glad to be seen. Back to you, Roland.
K6SOE, KC6JPG. Very good, my friend. Thank you very, very much. Yes, Dan said it well, didn't he? If you're not watching ATV, you're just not getting the picture. I love that. Very good, my friend. Thank you very much for checking in onto the QO-100 satellite. And now we're going to go over to Rod, WB9KMO, and he is in Mesa, Arizona, which is not too far away from Phoenix. So, Rod, it's absolutely wonderful that you're on tonight, or today, this morning, and we're going to take it to you. KC6JPG.
Audio. How about that? Okay, I put up a slideshow here, if you can show the slideshow. I'm just throwing out some fun slides. That's the Santa Barbara repeater. And a few of us a few years ago when we had our white shirts. We have a variety of IDs. This is an Arizona ID that we've used. Another one on White Tank, which is a repeater just west of Phoenix. And that just is one of the slides. I have a repeater at my home in Mesa, and that's in Santa Barbara. We had a special cameraman for one of our sessions. That's my home, and the tower on top is for the repeater. I was born in 1951, and this is what happened. The earth stood still when I was born. Don't be left behind. Get on ATV, and we have our license plates that we can put our call signs on, and color bars, variety. In Santa Barbara, this is one of the original IDs that we used back in 1980, California license plate. And that's me operating about 30 years ago from Santa Barbara through the Santa Barbara repeater, and giving a little presentation at one of the hamfests here. I like to get my robots out. It gathers attention, and I put them on ATV sometimes. And the upper right is a picture of the view from my house. Houston, we don't have a problem. Okay, that's about all I've got here. Take it away. Oh yeah, little lightning, little rainbow. That's all I've got. Take it away from Mesa, Arizona, USA. This is Rod Fritz, WB9KMO, and I live at Thunder Mountain, about 1,800 feet elevation here.
WB9KMO, KC6JPG. Well, very good, Rod. Terrific presentation, and I love the graphics and love the robots too. So you got it, my friend. So thank you very, very much for checking in with us. All right, we're going to go over to Tucson, Arizona, and that is where Joel is at, KD6W, KC6JPG. Joel, good morning.
Well, good morning, Roland. This is Joel, KD6W, here in Tucson, Arizona. Grid Square Dog Mike 42 Kilo Golf. Basically, we're doing everything through the internet right now because our machine is sitting currently in the garage. It's basically a big stack of equipment that's getting put together from a bunch of commercial equipment that we've accumulated over the years. Some people may know some of my former employment was from a long time ago. We started in digital television back in 1995, but been a ham since 1984, but worked in the professional side for many years, but just recently retired after doing a bunch of work in the ATSC community over here in the United States. Behind me, I've got my 10 and 24 gig rig out because I was running in the contest a couple weekends ago, and I'm in the middle of working on one of the little boards that I made to, it's my little 4-port sequencer for sequencing the radio. Well, one of the little relays got damaged because it got squished in the back seat of my truck kind of thing. Any case, we're getting ready to put that rack of equipment in its new location. It's got a new home to go to. It's going to be on this site up on Mount Lemon. with coverage that should be pretty spectacular. We have a great opportunity from the top of Mount Lemmon. It's 9,000 feet up in the air, so that's got a great coverage pattern. This is on 1276 and has coverage all the way up to and includes parts of where our other machines are at here in the Arizona ATN network, Mesa being where Rod is at, and Lee is over here in Glendale, and White Tanks is right over here off to the very far west. But so we're getting ready to do some other work. We started doing the internet thing when we lost our machine site. We got priced out of the place we were at, so we started doing more work on SRT. So there's these cool little clever devices called Raspberry Pis, and so we've found an image that seems to be working pretty stably, and we're able to shoot images right straight out of our Vision Mixer with this latest software update that we got from Blackmagic. We're able to just switch a button on, and off you go, and there's your picture, and it shows up at the other end, and it's very beautiful. So that's about it from here, and back to you, Roland. This is Joel, KD6W in Tucson.
Yeah, KD6W, KC6JPG. Oh, very good, Joel. Thank you so much for the contributions that you're doing, especially with the Tucson repeater system. And I tell you, the rack looks beautiful. So looking forward to seeing you guys getting that deployed shortly. That's terrific. Well, very good. Well, it looks like I got Keith also waiting in the wings, possibly, and David. So if you want to grow your screens, guys, and Matheson, if you're there, we would like to check you in too. So if you have the opportunity. Okay, and then we got in Virginia, we got David, KN4LQN. And so, David, it's great to see you, my friend. Good morning, and how's it going? KC6JPG for the DATV QSO Party 2024 via the QO-100 satellite.
David KN4LQN hailing from Richmond, Virginia. That's Richmond on the James. I want to say 73 to everyone. I really enjoy seeing everyone's setup, and we are early days here in Richmond, Virginia, playing around with DATV, DVB primarily. Got a couple of sites looking. We don't have any of these nice mountains. We're all hill-based here, but it's really great to be able to see everyone and say hello. This is KN4LQN73. Back to you.
KN4LQN, KC6JPG. Very good. It's great to see you this morning. So thank you very, very much for checking in with us. Terrific. All right. Let's see here. And I think that is going to be it. I was hoping that Keith might be popping in, or Matheson will be popping in. But looks like that might be it, Peter. So we're going to go ahead and turn it back over to you. So this is Roland, KC6JPG in Rancho Cucamonga, California, and just kind of give you a little tour of what's going on here in the KC6JPG studios real quick. This is my my setup here. So I got monitors galore all over the place with the QSO Party linking all points in the United States here. And got a couple of Raspberry Pis in the rack. And that's what's feeding a lot of our whereby and BATC feeds. And of course, there's our back channel there, and of course we got a new project. And I just like to thank Tony VK7AX and also Neil VK3BCU who really guided me. We got our first SRT player/decoder right here. Just got this built up on Thursday and put it in a double hat case, or with a hat case in here. And so this is deployed using the Raspberry Pi player, and then we've got the relay modules out, and it's operating perfectly using GPIO 26, operating relay number 1. So we're going to get this deployed over to Mike's QTH at Job's Peak Repeater, and we'll be able to SRT around the world, all on the air to everywhere. So it's going to be terrific for those that want to be doing presentations at Hamfest and doing net control stuff. All right, Peter, we're going to go ahead and turn it back over to you. So thank you so much for this grand opportunity. What a great, great event. Back to you. This is Roland, KC6JPG 73, everyone.
Couple more technical hitches, evidently, with the streaming between America and Australia. So bear with us. We'll be back soon. Just a bit more turning things off and on again, evidently. So it looks like we'll be getting Bill very shortly.
Just about to have the last one of the last segments for the evening. Just stand by, please.
It is streaming. Streaming is on. Okay, there's the, we have audio. Is there audio? I wonder what's doing that. Everything looks okay here. Well, we'll do the best we can. This is AB0MY for the Boulder group. Boulder,
As Roger was saying, it seems the audio is the last thing DATV thinks about.
We're coming to you about 4 a.m. this morning, our time, and I seem to be the only one left running here this evening. But it's been great. I've enjoyed this so much. This has been the best QSO party so far. I'm so glad the European contingent got in here. That seems to complete the around-the-world thing for us. And what I'm going to do here is, just to finish off, I'm going to put up a quad view. I should still have audio. And what I'm going to do here is, just to finish off, I'm going to put up a quad view. I should still have audio. And what I'm going to do here is, just to finish off, I'm going to put up a quad view. I should still have audio.
Okay, I've got audio going out.
Yes.
Good. Thanks, Ian. Well, what a fantastic day we've had. We've had a truly international QSO party, and being amateur TV, we've had a few warts that we've had to fix. Not the least that we've got half of VK3 RTV not working, and then the usual audio problems that go with amateur TV. We seem to have more audio problems than video problems, but that's the way it goes. For this particular session, thank you to Martin, G4 Foxtrot Kilo Kilo, and I've been a member of the BATC since about 1971, I think, and there's many of us here that are members of that club, and it's a great thing, and it's really the incubator of TV, I think, right throughout the world. Also to John McCarthy, thanks for coming up, John. Really nice to see you. And also to Dave Crump, who gave us a rundown on the Portsdown and what's going to happen there, which is great. And then we had Gary ZS6YI and the guys from South Africa. And then I lost track of where we went from there. We went all over the world. I think we went to India, and I think we went to Brazil. So we've had an incredibly good DATV QSO party. So the plan is that the last Saturday in August we'll do it again, and hopefully we'll have it even bigger and better, and with perhaps less problems. That would be really good. So I'm Peter, VK3BFG, and I live in Wantirna South, which is about 30 kilometres east of Melbourne. So for us here in Melbourne, and on behalf of everyone here, the VK3RTV gang, thank you all for participating in the QSO party. It's been great. So we'll see you again soon. Well, there we go. I think I think that's what we're going to get from the QSO party. There's still some activity going on the back channel, but I'd like to thank all the people that have made it happen today. And I don't know if Gary's going to come back on, but so yeah, we saw all over America. I think we did a pretty good show for the boys over there, in terms of showing what Oscar 100 can do, and we'll look forward to next year's QSO party, the last Saturday of August 2025. So sorry, I need to do something here. Right, okay. If you're still there, Gary, I'll put it round to you. Thank you ever so much for being there and organising the South African side of things, and all the chatting we've been doing in the background. Apparently there was over, I think, 107 people watching on Gary's YouTube channel, so that's all very good. So thanks everyone who came up. I'm going to put it round to Gary now, if you're there, Gary, and we'll look forward to next year's one. Zulu Sierra 6, Yankee India, Golf 4 Fox Kilo Kilo, standing by.
Okay, very, very good there, Martin. You won't believe this, 110. I've just taken a screenshot and I'll get it over to you, but fantastic. Thank you for the opportunity and for everyone else that came up, and it was indeed a worldwide net for the first time in a long time, really worldwide. And we want to thank Ed for getting up so early to come and see us, and of course to the Americans as well. I just want to take a photo. I see you on the other link there, Martin. So I just want to take this photograph to show you 110 people, and there we go. And off it goes to you. So, fantastic. With that, this is ZS6YI closing the net from our side. Wishing everyone a very happy weekend, what's left of it. 7-3 all.